All right, let's just jump right in. We tend to think of social media as, well, an app on our phone, right? Something we scroll through when we're waiting in line. But what if it's way more than that? What if it's actually become the new environment we live in? A digital world that is fundamentally changing who we are.
And just think about how fast this all went down. I mean, back in 2003, MySpace gave us our first real shot at having a social profile. A year later, Facebook starts connecting college kids. Then boom, 2006, Twitter teaches us all to think in 140 characters. By 2010, Instagram has us all speaking in pictures. And just a couple of years after that, the seeds of what would become TikTok were planted. In what feels like the blink of an eye, we went from a world of landlines to this completely interconnected digital reality. It's a seismic shift, and we're really just starting to figure out what it all means.
And the scale of this, it's just mind-boggling. We're talking over 4.9 billion people using social media. That is more than half the entire planet. So this isn't some niche hobby anymore. It's pretty much a universal part of the human experience now.
So that brings us to our first big idea, this always-on world we now inhabit, where the line between our digital and physical selves has all but disappeared. But it's not just about being constantly connected. This new world raises a much deeper question, especially for the people who've grown up in it. And that leads us to our second section, how we're actually forging our identities online. I mean, this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? When you're surrounded by perfectly curated profiles and instant feedback, how does a young person build a real, stable, authentic sense of who they are? Luckily, we aren't just guessing here. We've got some serious data to look at. A massive review that pulled together 32 different studies on almost 20,000 teenagers. Well, it gives us a really powerful clue. So let's break down what the researchers found.
Okay, so first up, they looked at this thing called identity exploration. Basically, this is the messy, active work of figuring yourself out. It's about questioning your beliefs, trying on different hats, so to speak, to either make your values stronger or to find new ones. It's the journey.
And the destination of that journey? That's what's called self-concept clarity. This is that feeling of knowing who you are. It's when your goals, your beliefs, your relationships, they all kind of click into place and form a clear, stable picture of you.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting. For years, researchers have been debating what part of social media really moves the needle on all this. Is it the quantity of use? Just the raw number of hours you spend scrolling. Or is it the quality of use, the specific things you're actually doing on there?
And this right here, this is the big reveal. The study's conclusion was incredibly clear. At the end of the day, it's not about how much time you're logging. What really, truly matters is what you do with that time.
And this table just lays it all out perfectly. The research found that when you're an active participant, posting things, creating content, that was linked to more identity exploration. It helps you try things out. Now, when you practice authentic self-presentation, just being your true self online, that was strongly connected to higher self-concept clarity. It helps you know who you are. But here's the flip side. Social comparison, constantly measuring yourself against everyone else's highlight reel, was tied to higher identity distress. The message couldn't be clearer. How you use these platforms has a direct and profoundly different impact on the person you become.
So these individual actions, they don't just affect us in a vacuum. When you scale them up across billions of people, they've actually changed the very way we all communicate. We've created a whole new language for how we interact.
For one thing, our communication has gotten a whole lot shorter, right? Character limits, hashtags, that super fast pace of the news feed, it's all trained us to be brief. We've literally gone from writing paragraphs to crafting posts. And while that's great for speed, it can sometimes squeeze out all the nuance.
And second, we've made a massive shift from using words to using visuals. Memes, GIFs, short little videos, they've become their own dominant language. They can get across a complex feeling or an inside joke in a split second, in a way that words sometimes just can't.
And of course, with a new language comes a whole new set of unwritten rules. A simple like is now a nod that says, I see you. Getting left on red can feel like a major snub. There's this constant low-grade pressure to be available, all while you're trying to manage this perfect-looking online version of yourself. It's a brand new and pretty complicated social dance we're all learning.
Okay, so let's pull the camera back one more time. All these little changes in how we act and talk online, they've added up to create enormous system-wide challenges. These are the hidden costs of being so connected.
And when you look at the whole ethical landscape, a few really big challenges pop up again and again. Things like privacy,
fake news, cyberbullying, addiction, and discrimination. These aren't just minor bugs. They're foundational problems baked into the system. I mean, just take privacy. Every single time you like, share, or check in somewhere, you're adding another brushstroke to this huge digital portrait of yourself. And the tension is, while all that data makes our feeds more interesting, most of us have no real idea how it's being collected, stored, or even used. And then there's the whole misinformation mess. The very algorithms that are built to show us more of what we like can accidentally trap us in these little echo chambers. And that makes it incredibly easy for bad information to spread like wildfire, because we're just not seeing anything that might challenge our worldview. So it really all comes back to this one simple truth. From figuring out who we are as individuals to shaping the global conversation, the things we choose to do online, the content we make, the way we treat people, the information we amplify, it all has very real and very serious consequences in the real world.
Which leaves us with one final thought to chew on. If the science is telling us that our actions matter far more than our screen time, then that means the power is actually in our hands. So the question is, what is one small, mindful action you can take today to make your corner of the digital world just a little bit better?